And welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally, and today I am joined by Damon Dormer, who is Managing Director at Golden Mile Resources. You just recently put out an announcement on your Quicksilver nickel project in WA, and there was a new word in there for me, and it seems like a new word for a lot of investors out there, vermiculite. Okay, so all right, but you're quite excited about it. Can you tell us what it is and why you're excited?
Thanks, Wally. So vermiculite is just an altered form of biotite. Now, most people may be familiar with vermiculite, but not in terms of a mining setting. Vermiculite's been used in people's gardens. It's been used in insulation. It's been used in industrial applications. And it's also been used in heavy metals cleanup. And now that's really important in terms of what we're looking at Golden Mile. Now, vermiculite in itself, how it works in heavy metals cleanup, it acts like a huge sponge. And it basically sucks the heavy metals out of contaminated water and precipitates it onto the vermiculite. And that's how it works. Now, we're seeing that within the ore body in a setting where we've got a lot of groundwater, we've got great chemistry in the water, and we've also got a lot of nickel in the oxide. And what's happening there is, in particular with the vermiculite, we are seeing the nickel, it's happened over millions of years, just getting sucked onto this vermiculite, which is forming these high-grade zones within the deposit of Quicksilver.
All right, so does that mean that if you're looking for nickel out there, this vermiculite is a healthy indicator? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is. So there's a couple of things to that, Wally. Firstly, with the RC drilling program we completed, we saw a lot of biotite schist and everything else in the primary rock underneath. And we're seeing, now, bear in mind the vermiculite is an altered form of biotite. We're certainly seeing that there's a relationship between what we're seeing in the primary rock and what we're seeing in the oxide zone. Now, being able to sit there and go, we've got this effective structural control to where high grade sits, then we can look to how we properly target it. But it's been the simple truth of the matter is that it's been the RC program that's informed us how to better target this in conjunction with a massive array of other data and information we've got to really zone in on where these things sit. And certainly what we want to be doing next is to be putting a small program together to target these into our Forward Works program.
What does it mean from here, though? Okay, you've made this, let's call it a discovery of the nickel hosted in this vermiculite. You want to obviously explore this further to find out what's down there. So what's your next step? So where do you go from here?
So the key to what we're doing here is we need to orientate the structures and confirm that orientation of structure. Well, that sounds pretty plain and simple. It becomes very important, particularly when we start talking multiple structures and also in context of an infill program for the scoping study. We're going to need to do a fairly substantial infill program. And if we're not drilling in the right plane to target these things and not drilling on angle, and when we're drilling on angle and all that sort of stuff, it becomes very difficult to hit it. So we could actually do a big program of infill drilling. And if we don't target these things properly, we could actually waste a lot of money, putting it bluntly. So what we want to do is go and put a target program together, dial in the infill program, so to speak, so that we get the maximum value from our infill program, which gives us not just about identifying one structure, but looking at identifying all the possible structures within what we want to do as our business case.
All right. Well, it's obviously going to be an interesting journey here, Damon. I mean, as I said before, like 10 years ago, nobody heard of lithium, and then we've got the rare earth thing that people are sort of learning about how that gets reported and what they see coming through the market there. So with something like this, again, it's something that people are really going to have to sit back, take it in, and really you guys have to educate yourselves. The market has to educate themselves too about what it is that you're trying to tell them. So it's going to be a game of patience, really. Everybody's got to be very patient with what's coming through and really get into the nuts of it all.
And look, and I think the key thing, look, and I'll first say, well, look, the amount of reading on vermiculite and the mines around the world and everything around this, I'll say it's been a a huge learning curve even over the last few months when this became more and more significant. Look, that drill hole back in June that was that spectacular one we had that we talked about on a previous interview, that really changed our whole perception of and really changed a lot of the way we approach the works going forward. Now, that's been great. It's driven us to where we are now. It's given us all the information, while a lot of people see the drill hole data, so I should say the drill hole assay results, what we've got also in the background, we've got petrology work and we've got, detailed geophysics going on, all this stuff. So we look at the data in what it means in terms of, and what we want to convey is what all that comes together and means, because we actually have a huge amount of data, and we even are going back through the current drill hole database. And what we're seeing, and I think it's important to highlight, we go back through the database and we actually see numerous holes, not quite to the grade of what hole 8 was, but certainly with thick nickel intersections and high-grade nickel sitting within those intersections that were contained within the resource. And when you look at the alignment of those, that's actually fitting that consensus view of what we have around these vermiculite structures, because it's our view that those high-grade thick intercepts that we've got in the database had most probably been laden with vermiculite as well. Not quite, and we're seeing that orientation and structure at the high level, certainly with the thinking and what we're seeing in the data. And if I could just finish on Wally really quickly, I think there's two key things for me out of this. The first one is this project is just looking more and more promising from when I first joined the company back in start of March. And that is really, that to me is just exciting, that everything we see is just always an enhancement on what we do. And the second one is we are data driven. We look at the data and we let the data tell us what we should be doing. And that's really important. We're not going to be, this is about, and better or worse, the data will tell us everything, but everything so far has always been an enhancement on where we stand. Nothing's really pulled away from what we've got and where we see this thing going.
All right, well, as I always say, make sure you keep in touch. There's obviously a story developing here, and we'd like to know how it goes. So, Damon, thanks for dropping in again, and please don't be a stranger, and make sure you're dropping in again very soon.
Appreciate it, Wally, and we'll certainly be doing further updates as well.